Hi and welcome to the video on images. We have looked at images previously, but I want to extend that understanding. At the moment on the screen you can see Notepad++ with 4 pages, and you can notice over here that I've got lesson number 7. I know it's video number 8, but as I say, I'm only starting from when I've started building web pages. And 4 pages over here, and there's 4 pages here. I have started to do something that I want you to start doing from this point forward, and that is when you build your websites, try only to have your index.html in the root. That's your home page. This is called the root folder. It's where your website starts and it goes into this page. You never put anything outside on this side or anywhere else on your computer. Don't start sticking pictures inside pictures or try to reference something in my documents. That folder, imagine that's it, and that's all you're going to have. What I've then done is I've created a folder called images, and obviously all my images are in there. These other pages shouldn't be there. They're only there at the moment because they're example pages, but get used to sorting things out. Folders, give them short, sweet names, slightly descriptive to yourself, all lowercase. Don't use uppercase. So what's the point? Well, let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at the first page, which is my index. Let's open it up, and there's a picture of some cool ducks. And all that is this piece of code here. Really, really simple. We looked at it before. Here we've done the referencing of the folder, the images folder. If I bring that down to here, there's the images folder. Images / tells us going to there. Remember, if you have to go from a page that's further in, and you've got to come back a folder, 2 dots will sort that out. So we've got the images, and then I use the file name. I have to get the file name exact. If you remember, if you don't get it exact, you get a little red X telling you it's gone wrong. If you ever get an error message, it's because you've gone wrong, not because the browser has or anything else, but because you have. Find out why, sort it out. Remember, the most common mistake to make with images is to put SCR rather than SRC. Remember, it's short for source. Okay, not screen. You have the alt, that's just like the hyperlink's title. It simply puts this text up. So if I take this and I move my mouse over the image, it says duck image, just in case you weren't too sure. But it is important because if you make a mistake with this file at all, that alt also becomes an indicator to give you or the user some idea, but that just tells you that your website's not well coded. Well coded? Well, a grammatical nightmare. However, remember, I'm not closing down the browser, I'm keeping that going, and I simply refresh to see what that's doing. Okay. Let's have a look at the second page. Now, this brings me to something else you can do with these web pages, and what I've done here is exactly the same piece of code, but I've actually used 2 other attributes, height and width. This is the only time I'm actually going to encroach in what really is CSS. This is the thing you'll find on lots of web pages, including W3 schools. They will tell you height, width, you can do a line and everything else. Don't do it. There's a couple of really good reasons for not doing it. One is you can do it in CSS, and that's the right way of doing it. This is wrong. I'm doing styling in HTML, so I shouldn't do this at all. But let's have a look at this image again. That is not the image I want. I have a distorted image. I haven't maintained the ratio between height and width. All over the web, all in kind of different publications, people forget about the ratio, and you end up with these distorted images. Instead of doing what we've done there, you'd have been better resizing the image appropriately in a program, adjusting it and getting it to what you want. And there's a couple of really good reasons. One is because that is just horrible. But also, let's say you've got a file which is really large, 4, 5, 6 megabytes. For an image that is huge. Your computer has got to download that. So when you go onto a website and it's downloading a 3-4 megapixel image, it's going to take time for that image to download, and you'll see it building up very, very slowly. So you think to yourself, it'll also fill the screen because it's a huge picture. So what you then do is you say, okay, I'll tell you what, I'll use the height width tool, and you'll do that. The trouble is, all that's doing is downloading the original picture of 4 megapixels, which is going to take some time to download, and then it's got to twist it into this height width mode. So it's actually doing 2 stages. You'd be far better resizing the picture as a designer, putting the resized image in your images folder, and then dropping all of this height width nonsense and allowing your image to be what it should be. Don't allow your images become distorted. If you've got an image you really want on your website, but it doesn't fit into the space you've got it, there are two options available to you. One is to crop the image. Get yourself a good piece of imaging tool. There's lots of freebies out there. Crop the image to the size you want. If with cropping you can't crop without losing important parts of the image, then the answer is either change the space or change the image. You haven't got any other choices. Distortion is horrible, and anyone who's got any sense will stay away from something that is so clearly distorted. There's my little go. I have noted, by the way, that I didn't put the end. These are obviously empty elements. That's sloppy programming on my side. Let me resolve that now. Okay, let's have a look at page number 3. Page number 3 gives us the same image. So why am I showing the same image in this case? Well, let's have a look at the code. It is the same image, but this just shows you that in the source area you can simply go to the location it is on the web. Now this is okay if you own this website. I don't. Whoever, if they're watching this, thank you very much for the images of cool ducks. I am really happy. However, if that's not your website, then let's state that you're doing a website for a company, for a charity, for yourself, or whatever else. You're doing this for school, college, university, your employer, and you have this because you're doing something on ducks. You have this image here. And the person who owns this website decides that actually they're not keen on ducks anymore, and they much rather change it to a pornography site. So you're now standing up in the most important person in that part of the establishment. You load this page up, and it's certainly not ducks that come up. Whatever it is, it doesn't have. If it does have ducks in it, you don't want to see the picture. There's the rub. You can't trust that that site's always going to hold that image. They may change the image, they may remove the image. Your website becomes a failure. Obviously you shouldn't pull them down. I've done this for examples. I won't keep hold of these images, but if you were going to use them on your website, then you should either ask the person permission or get copyright free images. So you can get them from the web, but really you shouldn't have them local so that you've got hold of them at all times. Okay. Finally is this one. Now this is quite cool, but potentially completely useless. However, it's there for you to use. You can see this has got a border around it, so it's telling you that this image is hyperlinked, but if I move the mouse over, there's no pointer. What I've done is I've used mapping. That means that actually I've got 3 hyperlinks. These 3 here. If I click on this one, it will take me to the image of a goose. Woohoo! And this one to the image of a hen. So what I've done here is I've used this map command. Now clearly if you're trying to learn this, you pause me now, because I could sit here for a few seconds and I bet you're now checking the volume. What I could have done was become very loud at that stage, but the fact is that that's a waste of video time. So what you want to do is pause this, write this down, have a look at it, be prepared. Obviously you haven't got my image, take another one. It does take some time to get these positions sorted out. I've got the image. The image has got to come before the map. Please be aware of that. The image is there. I've got the alt tag, and the only new thing is this attribute useMap. And it's saying useMap, and remember the hash in front. If you don't, it won't work. The name after that comes from this part. Map, which is the element or the tag. And there we got the name. Obviously map is the tag. That's the element. Inside the element are other tags to work from. Solve a sloppy bit of programming there. And all I'm doing is defining the shape, rectangle, coordinates of that, reading, this is left to right, up and down. Do work this out because computing doesn't always work in the same way you expect it to. So in this case this is 40, from the side here, so it is reading the X and then the Y coordinates, but remember you're reading X, Y, X along as normal, but Y is going down the page, not up. So we've got those coordinates. Alt just as before, and then the href as just like any other anchor. There's no anchors here, it's defining an area. Now obviously if I click on these, they take me to the images. On this one, I just want to show you something else. That's loaded up into this page here. And all I've done is use the other attributes. So the attributes that belong to the anchor tag can also be used in the area tag. It's quite neat. Use map, you will find another one about server mapping. This is use map, this is user side mapping. Don't worry about the terms user side or anything else, but just remember use map. It's an interesting attribute. It does take some time to map these, and you're going to have a pretty damn good reason to use it. If you get it later on into PHP, then you might be able to generate these automatically, and therefore that becomes much more powerful. So there we have it. We've had a look at different types. We've got pictures of ducks all over the place, chickens and hens, no chickens, I don't know why I made them up. There we've got the initial images folder. That's what we started with some time back. Remember the files here, and do remember images should go in an images file and folder, and really we start to need to move away from this side. Hope that's been useful. Talk to you next time.